Hello, my friends, and welcome back. A big giveaway in figuring out if the person that you are debating an issue with is an intellectual and a person who wants to discuss the truth and wants to find out what happened and has a desire of broadening his or her horizon of knowledge is a person is the giveaway is when that person accepts defeat of ideas in a debate but is happy that that person won by learning. um, there are debates obviously when you are engaged in to win the debate, and that means you use every little mental trick and technique to use rhetoric and other methods to be right, to prove that your point is the right one and yours is the wrong one, or at least yours is better than the other person's, the opponent's. Now that's a when you do that, you're in a battle and you have to win it. But for your own sake, you have to get when you have to get in this kind of circumstances, you have to be prepared. And how do you prepare yourself? Obviously, by learning, by reading, by observing, by experiencing. That's how you do it. But if you are subjective in picking the information you will internalize, uh, then you will not be winning because you have the wrong weapons. You actually deplete yourself of weapons and knowledge. So whenever you have a conversation with someone and you disagree with that person, or the person just simply wins the debate, you should be happy that you learn something, if you learn something. That's why you have to have an open mind and do your research and learn and think about things. When you have an enemy and an enemy, you learn something from an enemy, that's a good piece of information, piece of knowledge. It doesn't matter if that comes from an enemy. So the source is unimportant in this situation. So I don't care if I like this person or I dislike this person, if that person is my enemy or is my friend. If the information, the knowledge that I get out of it, be it true, let's go with that, or it's true, accurate, and I learn something, I do not care who that person is. I do not care if I'm put in a defensive mode or something, or I lose face during a debate. If I learn something, that means I improve my skills. I learn, I know more. I'm getting closer to the truth. So I hate when in this article that I will discuss here, I hate, that's a strong word, I I dislike bringing it to you because it comes from a overall communist system, communist people, and that's not a good thing, to say the least. So that comes from China, from the Chinese leadership, not the Chinese people, the Chinese leadership. So when I learn something from the Chinese, I do not like it, not Chinese, from the communists. Let me make a comparison, a differentiation here. Separate the Chinese civilization to the communist, whatever, Karl Marx's, so on. So let's put that aside. So I'm talking about right now about the leadership of China. So the communists, no good. I hate when they are right. I hate when they tell the truth. I hate when they use logic. I hate when they are objective. I hate when they are turning the tables on us, on us. And I put us as the Western civilization that is led right now by these clowns. I hate it, but I have to discuss it because it's so nicely, so Western, fantastically exposed that I can't help it. You have to get the enemy to expose your own people. That's very, very sad. So I'm talking about the China's foreign ministry, foreign affairs. This speech, and this comes from the Shanghai Eye, a video from April 26th. I will upload the link in the description box below. And this is what this guy is saying. We can disagree with, opinions, or, but you can disagree really with facts. And when the facts are brought together and go towards a conclusion without eliminating other obviously opposing facts that would, contradict the conclusion, then what can you do? And this video is titled "U.S. has no right to talk about democracy," and because of the 20-year invasion of Afghanistan. And that's right. That is very right. It doesn't mean U.S. doesn't have the right to talk. You can talk how much you want. The way you talk, and that, I mean, by the way, I'm talking about looking down and calling people out when you are the perpetrator of some unkosher things. So here we have, it says here, this gentleman, who is a very smart guy, I got to tell you, or at least whatever he's reading. I know who wrote it for him, but I'm assuming that's him, but who knows? He's a communist. I don't like communists, but there you have it. This is the guy. You have to admire intelligence. Now, if intelligence is in the put in the you know used to harm people, that's not good. But nevertheless, let's move on here. So it says here that the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan that lasted for 2 decades has killed more than 174,000 people in their country, including over 30,000 civilians. You talk about war crimes here in Ukraine, which I'm sure they occurred. Nearly 1/3 of Afghans have been refugees, and more than half Afghans face extreme hunger, causing rare humanitarian disaster. The U.S. has shattered a country and a generation, then walked away. That's a true statement. In the name of what? Of freedom and democracy, and changing the society and killing the brutal Taliban. Yeah, Talibans are brutal. What did you do in the process? So let's say I have an injury here, and in the meantime I cut the whole hand down, the third arm, the entire arm down. Is that logical? And now they even take the last reserves of Afghan people's life savings money as its own. This fully exposes the barbaric and brutal nature of the US's so-called rules-based international order. That is hypocrisy right there, but I think that's accurate here. The US has no right to talk about democracy or human rights whatsoever. Well, I disagree with that. You can talk, but how you talk, it matters. What it should do is immediately stop the illegal freezing of Afghanistan's central bank assets. That's discussable. Offer apology and compensations for the lost 2 decades of Afghan people. I would agree with that. And hold accountable those who perpetrated atrocities against the Afghan people. I agree with that, but that will never happen unless the United States will be kneeled. I don't want it to happen because it's too much given by the United States. It gives positive and it gives negative. Now, I don't want this great nation or great country to be kneeled or destroyed because of this done by some very tiny guys. I don't want the population, this civilization, to crumble as it does right now on its own cultural war. That's my assessment here, what's going on. So regarding Afghanistan, I hate this coming from the enemy and the communists, but it's very, very true, most of it. The United States froze the assets, the banking assets in the banks for Afghanistan. That belongs to the people, not belongs to the leaders. Now there are new leaders that are there because of you. Now tell me what would be the right way to do. You left, you packed your shit and left. That's what you did after occupying that country and building it back, which you didn't. And then what happened? You're again at point number one, square one, when these guys are back. So what did you do the 30 years? What did you do? And then the money that was, I don't know, donated, saved by this country, you freeze it. Why? That's not your money. It's the country's. Now you walked away for whatever reasons. You don't look back, but you take the money with you. You don't like the government. Why is that government in place? Why did you intervene? For Bin Laden? Intervening and destroying a country for one person and one little group? That shouldn't have been done like that. That shouldn't have been done like that. There should have been pinpoint attacks. Pinpoint rockets and attack in how should I put it? In short and small bursts. Find where the guy is, find where the command is, find where the training sites are, and destroy those. You don't have to destroy the whole country because you don't like that they have their cultures particularities or something. They don't like yours too, but since you think you're on the right, you think that you should intervene and have the right to change their cultures, right? And their traditions. I'm not saying they're good, not defending them, but why what you say should be imposed on them, but not vice versa? I tell you why. Because you think you're the best, and you are. But it's like a neighborhood. You don't like what happens in that house? Should I go over there and kick the door in, or I call the police? And who's the police? Me, right? I'm all right. It doesn't work that way. There are some particularities. You can't make. I mean, you. This is the utopic dream of these guys. They think they make it better, and they don't make it better by their actions. By their actions, I'm not convinced that these guys want to do good. I'm not convinced. You go in Afghanistan and then you leave, and then the Chinese Communist Party calls you out, and then you keep the money, and you talk about Ukraine, and you talk about freedom, and you talk about sovereignty of a country. After Yugoslavia's sovereignty was raped, after Iraq's sovereignty, Libya's, Afghanistan's, and you tell us now about Ukraine's sovereignty. No. Well, you can, but not going to work with some of us. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart. Look for the truth and be just. See ya.